I'm an airhead. So allow yourself to come into a comfortable position. Take a minute and notice your breathing. Notice the inhale and exhale. Allow it to steady a bit before we begin to move. Set an intention for your practice as well. See if you can start to soften and release some of the tension, just the top level tension before we get moving. Now on the next exhale, we're going to begin to lower the chin down toward the chest. And on the inhale, lift the chin up. And exhale, lower the chin down. So we just want to start to flex and extend the spine. Take your time as you move through this. If you begin to notice areas that feel a little tighter than usual, maybe we apply a little bit more gentleness to the movement before we go deeper. Rather than trying to force the tension out, we're going to ease it out of the body. So the flexion and extension might be down into the mid and lower back at this point. Now, slide your hands back, let your fingertips touch down, let the shoulders drop away from your ears. Open up all the space across the chest. And on the exhale, let's bring the hands forward, place them on the knees, and round out your mid-back a bit more. Notice how that feels in the center of the back. And then let's lean forward from our hips. Place your hands in close to your hips. And as you lean forward, notice how this feels. You can place your hands down in front. You can walk the hands out if you like. Come down onto your forearms. As we come down onto the forearms, we want that mid and low back to be relatively flat. Now, it's not going to be exactly flat, but we want to elongate the spine. And breathe. Walk your hands over to the right side of the body, and as you do, notice the left side, the rib cage, waist and hips, and then across your sacrum on the left side of the back. And then bring your hands back to center, take your hands over to the left, and now notice the right side in the same way. And breathe. Now, let's bring those hands back to center. Walk your hands back in. Lift the shoulders up by the ears. And on the exhale, let's draw the shoulders back. Release your hands down. Bring the shoulders forward. Lift them up. And on the exhale, draw your shoulders back. Release them down. And once again, let's bring the shoulders forward. Lift them up. And on the exhale, we bring them back. Place your fingertips down behind you. Work your hands in closer. And as you do, notice how this feels. We're going to feel a stretching and an opening across the chest, but all the muscles along the spine will now be in a shortened position. And we want to try to let the shoulders drop down and let the muscles soften. Now keep your right hand where it's at. Bring your left hand over to your right knee. You can let it rest on the knee or slide it in towards your hip. Allow yourself to come into a nice gentle twist. And then we're going to come back to center. Bring our left hand behind. Bring your right hand over to your left leg. And once again, allow yourself to come into a very simple seated spinal twist, not pushing, not forcing anything right now. And then come back to center. Let's put your right hand down away from the body. Slide it out a bit. Extend your left arm. And let's open up some space in the side body. And allow yourself to bend your right elbow. Reach through with the left hand. Now inhale, let's come back up. Place the left hand away from the body. Extend that right arm up. And once again, bend the elbow. Come into a nice lateral flexion in the other direction. Let's come back up and exhale and release. Let's move ourselves into a child's pose now. Resting on your shins. ease your hips back towards your heels. Let your hands stack flat or in fists underneath your forehead. So child's pose is a gentle way to start to ease more of that low back tension. It will encourage digestion with your knees close together. If it's too much compression, remember you can widen the space between the knees. So as you rest here, you're also getting compression in the knees and hips. So this is going to be good for the area in the hips, especially if you've been sitting a lot all day. Now let's extend our arms out in front of us, palms on the mat, fingers spread wide. Move your body forward, bring your shoulders over your wrists. And on the exhale, let's let the hips release down. Just for a moment, they might be fairly tight at this point, so we don't want to try to force that tension out of the body. We're going to ease it out. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, ease your hips back towards your heels. Let's flow through this a few times at your own pace, letting go of that tension bit by bit as we gently release the hips closer and closer to the floor. Let's take this a couple more times. Now this time when we come forward and we begin to release our hips down, let's pause for a moment. And then we're going to bend our elbows, lower down toward the floor. Stack your forearms on underneath your head and let your head rest on those forearms. Turn your head to one side or the other. Rock your hips until they're a bit more comfortable. Allow your body to relax into this crocodile pose. As you exhale, you might notice across your sacrum releasing some tension. Notice across the hip flexors as well. Now we're going to bring our head back to center. Let's place the elbows underneath the chest and come into a Sphinx pose. A little bit more of an engaged back bend, but still is going to be passive. So once we have the arms positioned here and we lift our head up, try to continue to relax through the hips. Notice if you're able to, on the exhale, let go of a little more low back tension and hip flexor tension. Inhale and exhale. Once more, inhale. And once more, exhale. Now let's restack the forearms in the opposite direction. Turn your head in the opposite direction as well. And come back to crocodile. Let's bend that right knee, which is going to start to stretch the right quadricep. We might reach back for that right foot. Let your forehead rest on your forearm. You can stay right here. You're going to get a good stretch in the quad, or you'll feel that in the knee and the shoulder. But if you choose, you can press that right foot into your hand, lift your head up and come up into a half back bend or half bow and breathe. And then release that right foot. Restack the forearms, turn your head in the opposite direction again. Let the body relax. Bend the left knee. Reach back for that left foot. Stay close to the mat. Or press that foot into your hand, come up into half bow or half a back bend again. And then release that left foot. And once again, we come back to crocodile. Now from here, we're going to slide our hands back close to the rib cage, palms on the mat, elbows in close, press into your palms. Come up off the mat in a cobra pose, a deeper back bend. Continue to let your body relax as much as you can in this. And then we're going to take a wide knee version of child's pose. Walk your hands in until your hips come as close to your heels as is comfortable. Come down onto your forearms. then from here, let's lift our head up, place our palms on the mat with the wrists directly underneath the shoulders, knees under the hips, tabletop position. And let's look at the mat. Notice how this feels. Engage the back muscles a little bit more fully. You want to make sure you're not straining in the back anywhere, that everything feels supported. And then you might lift your head, look forward, let the center of your spine drop down toward the mat, tailbone tilts up, creating a U shape in the spine, which is going to be good for compression between the vertebrae. And then on the exhale, tuck your tailbone under, bring your chin to your chest, lift the center of the spine up toward the ceiling. So we're going to move through flexion and extension of the spine here, inhaling and exhaling. Notice how this feels. And then we're going to come back to neutral. Take your right leg back behind you, tuck your toes, level the hips out. Nice stretch in the back of the leg. You might even press back through the heel a bit more. And then slide your right leg across the body over to the left side. Let's look over our left shoulder at that right foot, lateral flexion of the spine. And then bring the left leg back to center and step it forward and through. Let's place our left hand across from the right foot, right hand on your right knee, turn to the right. Let's lift the right arm up, just coming into a modified twisted low lunge. Stack the right arm over the left. Now, let's place that right hand down on the right knee and lift our torso up. Bring your body over your left hip. Let's let your arms relax and adjust that right foot until you have more stability. You can take it out further from you or bring it in closer, widen the stance or narrow it. Let your arms relax. And then lift your arms up overhead, palms facing each other. You can interlace the fingers here with the index fingers extended up. Draw your arms back behind you if you like. Let's keep your gaze forward to begin with. And then you might decide to lift your gaze up and take this into a deeper back bend if you choose. And breathe. You're going to get a nice stretch in that left hip flexor. And then we're going to go ahead and lower the arms down. Separate the hands, bring them behind the back, interlace your fingers. Drop your shoulders a bit. And then consider hinging forward to a flat back. Right shoulder to the inside of that right knee. Lift your arms up. Humble warrior. And then place your hands on the inside of this right foot, and then let's ease our hips forward and back here. So now we want to move our ankles, knees, hips, hamstrings, and quadriceps. And breathe. Just moving the joints, moving the muscles. From here, we can continue with this flow or angle the right toes out so it opens your right hip a bit more. Hands in the center of the mat above the right foot. Tuck your toes on your left leg, come off your left kneecap. Dropping that left hip flexor down. You might come all the way down onto our forearms. Now notice as you do how that feels in that left hip flexor. You're also getting more compression in the right hip, knee, and ankle. And breathe. Now, we're going to press into our hands, walk our hands back in, bring our right knee back to meet the left. We're back to tabletop again. Consider taking that left leg back, tuck the toes, level the hips out, press through the heel, slide that left leg across if you like. Look over your right shoulder at your left foot, tiger stretch. And then bring that left leg back to center. Step the left leg forward and through, placing it on the mat. Right hand's across from that left foot. Left hand comes to the left knee. Nice gentle twist. Lift that left arm up if you like. And breathe. Now lower that left hand down to the left knee. Press against that knee as you come up. We're going to lift our arms up overhead. Also, make any adjustments with that left foot you need for stability. Lift the arms up overhead, palms facing each other. Modified warrior one. Decide if you'd like to interlace the fingers. Draw your arms back behind your back. Keep your gaze forward for stability or look up toward the ceiling to challenge your balance a bit more. And breathe. Now inhale, we're going to come back to center. Separate the hands. Draw them behind the back. Interlace your fingers. Let the shoulders drop down. We might hinge forward. Left shoulder to the inside of that left knee. Lift the arms up overhead. Humble warrior. And breathe. And then we will release the hands to the inside of that left knee. And let's ease our hips back and forth here. Allow yourself to move through your range of motion. Make sure that the knee feels comfortable and safe, that you have plenty of support and cushion under the knee. And breathe. Once again, we can angle the toes out. We can place the hands above that left foot. Tuck your toes on your right leg. Come off your right kneecap. Drop down closer to your right hip. And breathe. Maybe ease all the way down onto the forearms. And then we're going to walk those hands back in. And then from here, let's go ahead and take that left leg back. Let's tuck our toes, rock back toward our heels, and we're going to come up to standing. Let's do a little bit more stretching, but from an upright position. Feet 1 to 2 fists width apart. Soft bend in our knees. We're going to place our hands down beside us. Now, again, with the feet about 1 to 2 fists width apart, we have the most stable position. And don't lock your knees. We want to try to bring our attention to the base of our body, which would be the pelvic floor. Try to draw that energy up toward our solar plexus. Lift up through the crown of the head. Turn your palms forward. Press your fingertips down toward the floor and lift up through the crown of the head so you let go of some neck and shoulder tension here. And then we're going to take our arms out to the sides. Slowly lift the arms up overhead. Palms together. Exhale, hands right down through the center of the chest. And then we're going to go ahead and lift the arms up overhead. Look up toward the hands. And on the exhale, let's hinge forward to a flat back. Draw your arms back behind you. Try not to lock those knees. Press back through your hips and through your fingertips. And then on the exhale, bend your knees, sweep the floor, and inhale up. Exhale, hands to the heart. So just 2 more forward folds like this. Inhale. Exhale, hinging forward. Inhale, press back through the hips and fingers. Exhale, sweep the floor and inhale up. And exhale, hands to the heart. One last time. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Now this time when we come back up, we'll pause here for a moment. And then from here, we're going to take another back bend. Exhale, hinge forward to a flat back, but this time put your hands right into the hip creases. Allow yourself to press back through the hips a little bit more. Now you can slide your hands down to your shins at this point. So we kind of loosened up those hamstrings, so we might come into a deeper forward fold. So maybe we stop here, or we might release our fingertips to the floor. Take a minute and notice how this feels. Now let's bend those knees and inhale, come up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, hinge forward. Press back through the hips. Let your hands come to your shins or fingertips to the floor. Maybe releasing the palms to the floor this time. And breathe. Now bend your knees, inhale all the way up. And now we're going to come into a squat pose. So we're going to take our feet wide, wider than our hips, turn our toes toward the corners of the mat, and give yourself plenty of space because we want to bend at the knees, drop down with our hands on our thighs, and then we might place our fingertips down on the mat and then ease the hips down between the heels. You can press your elbows together and breathe. Let's place our fingertips down, lift the hips up, and come back up to standing. And then we're going to make our way back down onto the floor. So we forget to do our squat pose periodically. And that one's not a bad idea to do on a daily basis, just to keep the hips and knees. I have to get down on the floor almost every day to clean mats, so kind of keeps the knees and the hips limber. Let's bring that right leg forward this time. Bring your left leg back for a Z-sit position, and again, make adjustments so it's more comfortable. One hand on either side of this knee. Let's bend our elbows, lower down toward the floor. Remember, it's going to add compression in the abdomen, thigh, and hip. Inhale, lift up through the crown of the head. Exhale, bending your elbows, lowering down. And inhale, lifting up. One more time, exhale, bend your elbows, lower down. And inhale, lifting up. And then decide if you want to come into a little bit deeper twist. Bring your hands to the outside of the knee. Walk them back toward the hip if you need even more. Notice how it feels in your hips, your rib cage, your waist. And then decide if you'd like to fold over that leg and come down onto your forearms. And breathe. Now we want to walk the hands back in toward our hip. We might put our right hand behind our hip. You can press into the hand, lift your hips up, reach the left arm up and over, and then lower your hips back down. Let's extend that left leg out. Keep the right leg centered, and then place our hands in front of that right ankle and lean forward. As you lean forward, we want to lengthen the spine. We can walk our hands out in front of us. We want to notice where we meet resistance. So if we start to feel resistance in our leg, our back, shoulders, wherever it happens to be, give yourself permission to pause. Let the body relax. If it relents and lets you go further forward, great. But if it doesn't, we're going to give our body permission to not be forced to do something that doesn't feel comfortable. Let's walk our hands over to the extended leg. Place your hands on your thigh. Slide your hands down towards your ankle. And notice how this feels. You're going to get a deep stretch in the back of the right leg, but you might notice your other hip is letting go of some tension as well. And breathe. We'll walk those hands back in. Let's bring that left leg in front of the right for an easy seated. You might opt for foot on knee, hand foot for square, or go into that shoelace position, whichever you prefer. And then take your arms out to shoulder height. Bring your right arm over your left. Give yourself a big hug. Notice how this feels. You can stay upright, or you might drop your chin, round forward, or fold forward. As you come forward, it's going to deepen the stretch in shoulders and hips. It's going to add compression to the abdomen. In general, this should be a calming pose, but note how it actually makes you feel. Now inhale, we're going to come back up. And on the exhale, unwind the arms, extend them out, and then let your hands come down beside you. Turn your fingertips away from the front of the body. Work your shoulders in a bit closer together. We're still sitting upright. Lower your chin down. As the chin comes down to the chest, notice the back of the neck at the base of the skull, all the way down to the shoulders. We can hang out here, which is a good way to release some of that tension in the neck, but if you feel like you need more, we can make 3 somatic neck circles. If we do, we want to take it nice and slow through the whole range of motion so we're not finding or pushing through discomfort. So turn your head to the right this time. Look out over the right shoulder. Lift your chin up from the shoulder. Bring your head to center. Turn to the left. Lower the chin down and back to center. So let's take our time as we move through this. Breathe, inhaling and exhaling. One more circle. So we want to keep everything nice and open so there's no pinching, no compression. Now when your head comes back to center, let's pause. Release the shoulders. Let's do this all again on the other side. Left leg forward, right leg back. One hand on either side of the knee. And on the exhale, bend your elbows, lower down, elbows in close to the sides, and inhale, lift up through the crown of the head. So we'll take this through 2 more times. Now if you have a lot of tension in your shoulders, maybe you don't put so much pressure in the hands. Allow yourself to be a bit more gentle. Inhale up. And one more time, exhale, lower down. And inhale, lift up. And then we decide, do we want to come into more of a twist? If so, how much more? Make sure we're not forcing the body into something that's uncomfortable. And then fold over that leg, come down onto the forearms. And breathe. Walk your hands back in. Press into your left hand if you like. Maybe lift the hips up. Maybe reach that right arm up and over. And then let's lower our hips back down. Let's extend our right leg out. Keep our left leg centered. Place the hands in front of the ankle. Lean forward. And walk your hands out once again until you meet some resistance in the body. Allow yourself to pause. It doesn't mean it's as far as you can go. It just might mean that we need to go a little bit slower or be a bit more gentle. If the body lets us go further forward, great. Walk your hands over to your extended leg. Hands can rest on your thigh. You can slide the hands to the ankle. Notice the stretch in the extended leg, but also notice your opposite hip. Any sensation you're aware of there. And then walk your hands back in. Bring your right leg in front. Foot on knee, knee on foot, or go for shoelace if you prefer. Let's take our arms out to shoulder height. Allow yourself to bring that left arm over the right. Give yourself another big hug. You can stay right here. This is a good way to release some tension in the shoulders, but maybe you decide to drop your chin, round forward or fold forward. And breathe. Note whether or not you feel a calming effect with this pose. It's going to add a lot of compression in the abdomen. It's letting go of a lot of tension in various places. Now, let's come back up again. And on the exhale, release those arms out. Take your time. Let your hands come down. Sit tall. Turn the fingertips away from the front of the body and notice how this feels. Once again, opens up a lot of circulation through the chest and the upper shoulders. Decide if you'd like to lower the chin to the chest once again and stretch the back of the neck. And again, you can hang out here or you can take 3 more somatic neck circles in the opposite direction. Take your time. Notice how this feels. You might keep somatic movement in the various areas of the body as one of those things that you can do periodically throughout the week. You can start to feel tension in your neck and shoulders. Give yourself permission to just slowly and gradually move your body through a comfortable range of motion and release some of that top level tension before it gets to be too much. One more time in this direction. Once your head comes back to center, we're going to pause. Lift your head back up. Release your hands. And then from here, let's consider bringing the soles of the feet together. Knees dropping open. This is not necessarily always going to be the case. Maybe the knees are up high. Allow yourself to make adjustments. The feet can be wide. You can bring them in closer. Choose whatever feels right for you. You might decide to rock a little bit side to side, just to kind of loosen up the hips. And then check in and see where we happen to be. Notice where you're feeling this. Is it in the muscles of the inner thighs or is it more in the hip joints? You might put your hands behind your hips and press into the hands a little bit, which is going to allow those knees to drop open a little bit more. You're going to feel that more in your hip joints. You might bring your hands forward to your ankles, sit up tall here, lift up through the crown of the head. This is going to allow some release of tension through the neck and shoulders. And you might decide to hinge forward. If you do, keep the elbows in close to your sides and lean forward with the crown of the head leading you. And notice how that feels. You could walk your hands out a bit and just notice and breathe. So the same position can take you into a number of different stretches, very subtle differences, but you'll notice which ones are targeting what feels like it's tight for you. Your hands back in. Let's extend both legs out wide. And again, take them to where they feel comfortable, where we're getting a good stretch, but it's not to the maximum quite yet, because we want the muscles to relax a little bit. And then once you get here, you might decide you want to try drawing your toes towards you, which is stretch the muscles in the back of the legs. Pointing and flexing the feet a few times here gives you an opportunity to stretch your shins, your calves, behind the knees, your quadriceps, a little bit in the back of the thighs, but not quite as much. But this is a good way to loosen up the legs. If you, like you said, if you've been in the car driving, maybe those legs get a little tight. Let's circle our ankles a few times. Notice how this feels. Maybe back in the other direction. Now with those feet flexed, maybe we put our hands forward and even walk them out. And again, we take it slow because we don't know where our body is going to resist. But once we do meet that resistance, give yourself permission to pause, relax, maybe bend the elbows and lower down a little bit more, and breathe. Let that low back elongate. And walk the hands back in again. Now from here, let's go ahead and come onto our side for our hip release of tension. We're going to rest on our right arm, and allow yourself to bend your knees. Let your top hand rest on your hip or be down in front to support you. Now, keep your feet together and inhale, open your knees apart. Somatic hip opening. Exhale, knees together. Inhale, knees apart. And exhale, knees together. Once more, inhale, knees apart. And once more, exhale, knees together. Now let's keep the knees together and inhale, open the feet apart. Exhale, feet together. Inhale, feet apart. Exhale, feet together. Once more, inhale. And once more, exhale. Now we'll do a set of alternating. Inhale, knees apart. Exhale, knees together. Inhale, feet apart. Exhale, together. Inhale, knees. Exhale. Inhale, feet. Exhale. Once more, inhale, knees. Exhale. Inhale, feet. And exhale. Extend your feet all the way down to the end of the mat. Lift your top leg about a foot or so off the bottom leg. This is inhale. And on the exhale, let that knee come towards your shoulder. Inhale and straighten. Exhale, knee toward the shoulder. Inhale and straighten. And exhale, knee toward the shoulder. You might extend the leg all the way up toward the ceiling. Flex the foot. Keep yourself supported. It's a bit of a balance challenge. Bring that knee back in toward your shoulder. Inhale, extend that leg all the way down. Still keep it about a foot or so off the bottom leg. Turn your toes down toward the floor. Inhale, turn your toes up toward the ceiling. So that's going to rotate your hip in the socket. Exhale down. Inhale up. Once more exhale. Once more inhale. Lower the leg down. And then we're going to come around to the other side. Head rests on the arm, knees bent to a 90-degree angle. And just use these top fingers to kind of stabilize you here. Once again, we're going to inhale, open the knees apart. Exhale, knees together. Inhale, knees apart. Exhale, together. Inhale, knees apart. And exhale, knees together. Now, inhale, feet apart. Exhale, together. Inhale, feet apart. Exhale, together. Once more, inhale. And once more, exhale. Now we'll do a set of alternating. Inhale, knees apart. Exhale, together. Inhale, feet apart. Exhale, together. Inhale, knees. And exhale. Inhale, feet. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Let's extend those legs all the way down to the end of the mat. Top leg a foot or so off the bottom leg. This is inhale. And exhale, knee toward the shoulder. Inhale and straighten. Exhale, knee toward the shoulder. Once more, inhale. And once more on the exhale. Now, when that knee comes in, we're going to, again, extend it up toward the ceiling, flex the foot. Use this hand to stabilize you because it gets wobbly. Draw the knee back toward your shoulder. Inhale and extend. And exhale, turn your toes down toward the floor. Inhale, turn your toes up toward the ceiling. Exhale down. Inhale up. Once more exhale. Once more inhale. Lower that leg down. And then we're going to come onto our back for some supine positions. So place your feet on the mat. Ease your hips toward your heels. Slowly lower down to constructive rest pose. Take a moment. Press into those feet. Readjust the hips if you need to. We want to get the mid-back to relax. The space between our shoulder blades, the neck. And then just take a moment and notice how this feels. Eyes can be opened or closed. Let your knees sway side to side here. Depending on how far apart you have your feet, this will be more or less asymmetrical. The wider the feet, the more it's going to be like windshield wipers. So take your time and notice how this feels. Again, this is a good technique to wind down at the end of each day, even if you don't have the energy to do a lot. Something like this will just relax so much tension from the body. And breathe. Now come back to center. Walk your feet in close to each other, ankles and knees touching, and then let the soles of the feet come together, let your knees drop open. Passive external rotation of your thighs. This is going to land in the groin area where the hips and the legs meet. It's going to feel like gravity's pulling your knees toward the floor, which it is. It's subtle, but it's pretty intense in the hip joint. So take a minute, try to let the muscles relax so this can sink more into the connective tissue. And breathe. Now allow the knees to come back to center. And then take your feet wide. Keep your knees together. Turn your toes in toward the center. So this is a passive internal rotation of your thighs. Once again, it's passive. It's going to affect the hip joints on the outer edges of the hips. And it's also going to be felt across your sacrum. So take a moment and notice how this feels. Remembering that the passive poses release the tension in the connective tissue, not in the muscles. So we have to let the muscles relax so the connective tissue can really stress. And breathe. And then we're going to walk those feet in close to each other. Ankles and knees touch. Let's let both knees drop over to the left and extend our right arm out from our shoulder. Look toward that right hand. Gentle supine spinal twist. Now, you can make adjustments until you feel really symmetrical about this. But once you get into the position that feels comfortable for you, allow your body to relax like 5 or 10% more. So if your toes are curled up, let the toes relax. If you're flexing your feet intensely, let the ankles relax. You're trying to hold your knees symmetrically together, let the leg muscles relax. Notice if you're clenching your hands and fists, relax your fingers. What about your jaws? Can you relax your jaws a bit? And breathe. A lot of times we're holding tension in strange places that we're not even aware of. So we want to do a casual inventory of the body and notice where you're holding tension and give yourself permission to relax. Now let's bring the knees back to center. And on the exhale, shift your knees over to the right. Extend your left arm out from the shoulder. And take your time and go through the body and notice where you can relax a little bit more into this twist. And breathe. Getting familiar with doing a body scan just to check in. Where can I let go of tension? Now we're going to let those knees come back to center. Let's draw the left knee in toward the chest. Wrap your hand around that shin. That's going to create some compression on the left side of the abdomen. Knee and left hip are also in a compressed place. So notice how they feel. Now from here, we're going to take our left hand on top of our left knee. Let's do 3 hip circles with this one hip and our hand on the knee for the guidance. Move that knee to the outside of the torso. Allow the knee to open out toward the floor. Extend your left arm away from your shoulder as far as you can, and then guide that knee back across the center point of the body and back up toward that shoulder. We'll do 2 more circles like this. Take your time. Remember, these circles can be much smaller than that, or they can be as expansive as you want to make them. Take your time. Notice how this feels. Notice if there's any areas of moving through this range of motion that feel uncomfortable or resistant. We're not trying to force ourselves through the resistance. We're identifying a comfortable range of motion. One more time, bring that knee across the center point of the body. And then once the knee comes back in toward the chest, slide it to the outside of the torso. Lift the sole of the foot up toward the ceiling. Reach for the edge of the foot. Let the knee come down toward the floor. Half happy baby. And breathe. Now you might choose to loop your index finger and middle finger around the big toe. Open that left leg out away from your body. So this is going to give you a full stretch of your inner thigh and back of the leg. And breathe. Also a good shoulder opening stretch as well. Now we're going to lift this leg up overhead. You have 2 choices. You can bend the knee, bring it to center and extend it up, or you can bring it from here You can keep your hands on the big toe, or you can let go of that foot and just bring it up on its own. Allow yourself to take your time. Don't strain your back or your leg to get it up overhead. But once it's here, pause. You might point and flex a foot and breathe. Good stretch for the back of the leg, your shin, your ankle's getting a good release of tension. Now flex the foot, bring it across the center point. You can have your right hand here to support the leg. It's going to stretch your IT band on your left leg. Notice how that feels. Now bring it back to center. Bend the left knee. Let the left foot come down on top of the right knee. So now supine pigeon. Again, we did lizard pose when we were on all fours. Pigeon pose, supine version is great. You can just start with bouncing the knee to open the hip a bit more. Now, if that's not enough, you might choose to bring your right knee into your chest, wrap your hand around that right shin, and breathe. You might extend your right leg up toward the ceiling. You could reach for that right big toe with your left hand if you choose, and breathe. Now rebend the right knee, place the right foot down, cross your left knee over your right knee. Now this is going to create an internal rotation of your thighs. It's going to target your piriformis muscle in your left hip. Let's consider dropping the knees over to the right side of the body. Extend your left arm out. So we're coming into a supine spinal twist. Now, if you feel this too intensely in the hip and it feels uncomfortable, uncross the knee. Remember, we really don't want to force ourselves into discomfort. There's a difference between feeling your body moving and getting a stretch, and then that feeling where it just doesn't feel pleasant. We don't want to do that because our body remembers that. It's going to resist us going there the next time even more. Now, let's let the knees come back to center, and on the exhale, uncross your knees, and then bring the right knee into your chest. Hand on your knee. Allow yourself to move this knee to the outside of the torso. We're going to do 3 of those somatic hip circles, and we can let the knee release toward the floor. We can extend our right arm away from the shoulder, bring the knee back across the center point, and then back up toward that shoulder. Now, if you want to make 2 more circles, remember we can do that. They can be smaller than I'm expressing. They don't have to be as expansive. We definitely don't want to push through pain. And now we're going to do 1 more circle in this direction and breathe. Now, when that knee comes back up toward the shoulder, slide it to the outside of the torso, closer to your shoulder. Lift the sole of the foot up. Maybe reach for the edge of the foot. Bring the knee down toward the floor. Now notice how this feels. Real good hip stretch. And breathe. Now we might loop our fingers around that big toe. We can open the right leg out to the right side of the body. Again, you don't have to keep a hold of the big toe if you don't like, but it will give you a good stretch in your inner thigh and the back of the leg and a shoulder opening stretch. But you can do it all without the hand if you want. And breathe. Now from here, we're going to bring that leg up overhead. Again, hold on to the big toe or not. Guide it up on its own power if you like. And then allow yourself to point and flex that foot while we're here. Nice deep stretch in the back of the leg. You might flex that foot and bring it across the center point, allowing yourself to stretch the IT band. And breathe. Now bring the leg back to center. Bend the right knee. Place the right foot down on top of that left knee. Explore opening that hip out by bouncing the knee a bit. And that might be all the hip opening you want today. But if you choose to bring that left knee in towards your chest, wrap your hand around that shin, you're going to feel a lot more intensity in that right hip. Again, keep it to where it feels right for you. You could extend that left leg up, possibly reach for that left big toe with your right hand, and breathe. Now, rebend that left knee. Slide your right knee over on top of your left knee. Notice how your right hip feels at this point. Do we want to let the knees drop to the left? If so, you might extend that right arm out and add an additional element to the twist. We want to keep a mind on our piriformis, and if it does feel too intense, remember you can uncross those knees. We don't have to force ourselves into discomfort. And breathe. Now we'll let the knees come back to center. And on the exhale, we're going to uncross the knees, draw both knees in towards your chest, let your hands rest on your shins, rock across the low back of it. We might widen the knees, take the pressure off the abdomen. You could slide your hands towards your ankles, a little bit of an inner thigh stretch, or even interlace those fingers, wrap them around the feet. Supine butterfly, and breathe. Now you might loop your fingers around the big toes once again. You might open both legs out into a supine wide-legged pose. You can flex the feet. You get a deep stretch in the inner thighs, the back of the legs. You'll feel this in the hips, the shoulders. And then we might bring both legs up overhead. Release the big toes. Slide your hands down either behind your knees or back down onto the floor. Legs up the wall. Again, our inversion, gentle, hips are on the mat, head's level with the heart. Just getting an improvement in the circulation in our legs, strengthening the heart and digestive system and calming anxiety, reducing insomnia. Again, another one of those things you could do every day, and it'd be a really good thing and not detrimental to be doing too much. This is pretty chill and relaxing. Use the wall if you want to, or hook the legs over a chair. And when you're ready, we're going to rebend the knees, slide your feet to the end of the mat, reach your arms overhead if you like, stretch out from fingertips to toes, point and flex your feet, shake your legs out. And then when you feel like you've got that last bit of tension out of your body, allow yourself to come into a comfortable, relaxing position, whether it be Shavasana, crocodile pose, lie on your side. Do take the time to come into stillness for a few moments. Again, the ultimate goal of yoga is to be able to be in stillness and be comfortable. And then notice everything that comes to your awareness. Being in stillness can be challenging for people, especially in this day and age with so much technology and information coming our way all the time. Even when we're still, we don't feel like we're still because we're just being bombarded by information. So taking a few moments to be in stillness, relatively quiet, allow yourselves to begin to notice our breathing again. Pay attention to it. You don't have to fix it or change it. Just allow yourself to observe the rhythm, the depth, the pace. Observing and not trying to fix or change the breathing will let your nervous system take over your breathing for you. Allow yourself to notice where you're still holding on to some physical tension in the body. Sometimes we have that one particular area that just is relentless, won't let go of the tension. And other days it's various areas. One area will pop up and then another area will bother you at different times. Allow yourself to begin to notice, where in your body are you still holding on to tension? And rather than trying to fix it immediately or get rid of the tension as quick as we can, acknowledge the tension being there. Give the body permission to let go of that tension when it's ready. Allow yourself to tap into your body's own innate awareness of what it needs. Allow yourself to notice where you feel deeply relaxed at this time. Allow yourself to give that sense of relaxation permission to be there, even if we're also holding tension somewhere else. We get so absorbed in the discomfort that we're unable to appreciate the areas of the body that do feel comfortable. Allow yourself to notice other things that are calling your attention. Sounds, smells, light, temperature, texture. Maybe it's our thoughts. Maybe we're already planning out the rest of the evening or things we have to do. Are we able to be in the present moment just a little bit longer without feeling like we have to prepare, move on? Notice emotions that might be present as well, whatever they might be. So take a moment and just be fully present in the moment with all the objects in your awareness. And give yourself permission not to have to fix or change a thing right now. Give yourself permission just to be exactly as you are. And when it feels right to you, allow yourself once again to begin to move. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Allow yourself to take your time and slowly and gradually make your way back up to a comfortable seated position. Choose a mudra. Allow yourself to turn the attention inward and notice what you experienced tonight. Notice what was helpful and what wasn't. Do you feel more deeply relaxed than when you began? Or do you feel like you're still holding on to some lingering tension? Give yourself some compassion and gentleness. I want to thank you for sharing your practice with me tonight. I honor the place in you which is of love, of truth, of light, and of peace. From my heart to yours, namaste.